I don't know if you've ever wondered what would happen if, at a council meeting, the councillors just abandoned the meeting, leaving the public in the public gallery. What could possibly happen? Well, that happened last night, ladies and gentlemen, and I shall tell you about that in a second from what I know and give you some links to go and investigate further. I just want to say thank you very much to everybody who has donated to the channel. I very much appreciate that. It is wonderful that you enjoy the channel so much that you would put your hand into your pocket for some hard-earned cash to keep it going. Very much appreciate that. And to everybody who's emailed in to me, and if I haven't been able to reply to you, I do apologise. The old nagging system works very well, so if you haven't heard from me, just send another email to remind me, because sometimes they get lost in there. So anyway, that said, let's go back to the subject in hand. You may remember I interviewed a chap called Chris Brooks in Thetford. And at the time, this was earlier this year, just before the May elections, there was a problem with a number of towns, of course. They were turning them into 15-minute cities. We've seen what's gone on in Oxford. And Thetford had some May elections, and Chris and a number of other people who were concerned that their town was being turned into a 15-minute city decided to get in as much as they could within the town council. And consequently, Chris was actually elected as a town councillor to be a thorn in their side and also to be able to report what's going on, which is fantastic. Of course, the town council is pretty much overrun by the county council. And so these meetings go on up and down the country, of course, with all sorts of county councils riding roughshod over the town councils, putting forward the implementations that the government want. And the puppet government, of course, being controlled by the likes of the WEF, the World Economic Forum, and the WHO, who are determined to capture our sovereignty so that they can mandate certain medical interventions within us. Well, there was in the Suffolk County Council a meeting last night, it seems, but two people got up from the public to talk about some of the things that were being implemented, not least the sexualization of children, and that is where children are being taught the rudiments of self-gratification sexually. I'll let Chris carry on the story because he went live from the event, from the public gallery. He was filming the event, and there will be links later on. And I'll get Chris and the two guys who gave the talk to the council to come on the show in the forthcoming weeks. So do look out for that. But let's see what Chris had to say when he went live and what was going on. So let me just switch this on.
Sorry. I'm currently sat in the West Suffolk Council meeting. We've had a few people speaking, and the council people didn't like what they were saying. And so, at the moment, the West Suffolk Council have, if I can show you, they've all buggered off. They've left the meeting, and so we're just waiting. Apparently, the police have been called, and so we're just waiting to see what happens now, really. Just thought I'd come on here to keep you updated whilst we wait. Hello, one person watching. What, and me? Oh, okay. So the two speakers, they've got to go because they've been naughty. And then the meeting's going to continue, so I'm going to going to finish filming the meeting once the rest of the council turn up. For those who weren't here at the beginning, we had two speakers and they were talking about certain things, and the council got up and walked off. So I'm just bringing you up to date at the moment. I am filming it, and it will go onto my channel, but I just thought I'd jump on a live because this is quite exciting, it's quite funny. So I just thought I'd keep you updated as to what's going on. But at the moment, it's an empty room. This is Bury St Edmunds in Suffolk, the full council meeting, and we've had a couple of people speaking, and we've still got Bob Says and Joe Owen waiting to speak. But yeah, I'll let you speak to Bob. Right, we're live on YouTube at the moment.
Oh, are we? Ooh.
So, here's Bob.
Right, yeah, basically what's happened is the council have abandoned the building. The judges have left the ship. So it looks like the people are in charge of the court at the moment, so to speak. There's two of us still to speak, but the reason the council have abandoned ship is that that two people who were speaking have overrun on their time, which is constitutionally not acceptable. So yeah, they're all hiding out in the back there. The two guys that were speaking over time had just left, so to give us the opportunity to speak ourselves. But it's laughable, really. But either way, what's happened is that there's been a big shock for the council here. There were some things that Aaron pointed out about 4-year-olds masturbating, and that one of the councillors had actually approved these actions in schools. The look on the other councillors' faces when that came out was priceless. So, and that's, I would imagine, why things have started to get a little bit heated.
So anyway, there we are. So that live went out last night, and it was interesting. And the fact that the council, to me, abandoned their position because they were shocked by actually the events that happened. As Bob Says there was saying, that it was pointed out that the council had actually approved what is going on in the state schools, namely the teaching and sexualisation of children, which is going on up and down the country. So they all walked out, and it struck me, as I was mentioning in my monologue yesterday, that we ought to be setting up shadow councils, and that is a public council, a sovereign council set up by us, the people, in each and every town, which we could do. We don't need permission. We just meet in a public place or at people's houses or wherever, and have a shadow council that is scrutinising what the main councils are doing and report to the rest of the people. You see, in the old days, we used to have radio stations, local radio. We used to have local newspapers that talked and told everybody what was going on in their town. And if they didn't want these things, these cameras being put out, the surveillance, the 15-minute cities, the plant pots in the road, the speed restrictions, all those sort of things that are going on, then people could actually, they would know about it, they could question the council, they could put them on notice and say, actually, do you know what, we're the people that live in this town, we don't want it, thank you very much, very kind of you to come up with a suggestion, an offer, but no thank you, we don't want it. And the whole town would be informed in that way. Well, those sort of methods of getting the information out to the public seem to have been lost. And people have become a little bit lacking in interest in what's going in their town. And yet now, more than ever, it is absolutely vital that people know what the county councils or the town councils are planning for the people. Because if people just acquiesce and let them do whatever they want to do, they're effectively agreeing to it. They're giving their consent. That's probably not a good idea. And so if you had shadow councils, I mean, it just struck me watching that if the council abandoned their position of a meeting, the people in the public gallery, I mean, and even Chris said it himself, it seems that we are in charge. Well, they should have got round the table and said, well, OK, the council have abandoned this meeting. We, the people, will take it on. And just carried on the meeting and said, right, let's have a look at the minutes. These minutes are no longer necessary because the council have abandoned their meeting. We will continue and discuss the things that we need to, stream that so that the public got to know about it, and just taken over. Because I don't think it's right that a council who are paid for by the public can abandon their position just because they are given information by the public that they don't want to hear. I think that it is the burden of being a councillor to hear the complaint of the public that they are supposedly there to represent. And if they don't like it, and if they cannot hold that position, and they abandon their positions and they leave the council meeting, it is then, I think, the duty of the public in the public gallery to step in and take control and say, fair enough, you have abandoned your position, you have effectively abandoned ship, we will take over and start to run the council. In my mind, that would be the perfectly natural and lawful thing to do. I'd be interested in your thoughts, whether you think that. As I say, the full video, I'll leave a link in the description so you can go and check that out. Chris assures me that he is in the process of editing the much longer video, which will show what the two gentlemen had to say beforehand, before the disruption, and that will be posted as well. And Chris and hopefully those two people will come up on the show to discuss what happened and why, in their opinion, the council left, and whether shadow council would be the answer. But to me, there is no reason why we cannot scrutinise our councils and report to the public what exactly is going on. I'll be back with more monologues and more interviews, so please stay connected to the channel. Thank you so much for the donations and all the comments, and I will catch up with you soon.